Hey y'all. It has been a minute since I've done the whole live thing. I've been traveling a lot and my internet, has just been like really wonky and unstable, which has actually been really great because it's allowed me to go really deeply into the Akashic records and learn a lot of stuff that's going beneath the surface. I'm always investigating stuff that's going beneath the surface, but yeah, I've been finding out a lot of interesting things around this concept of magnetism. And I want to talk to y'all today about magnetism. I hope y'all are well. Happy Scorpio season. Yeah, I don't really follow astrology like that, but I can always feel when the signs change. I just feel it's like the scene changes, and I've been feeling them Scorpio vibes. And I'm not a Scorpio, but I resonate with the Scorpio energy. I think a lot of us will utilize the Scorpio energy as we exit the false matrix, because in the lower octaves, like Scorpio can represent the Undertaker, it can represent the underworld, but like if we alchemize that energy, which is a big piece of what Scorpio is all about, is the alchemical power of things. Even if you think about how Scorpio is a mixture of both fire and water. I was just talking to a client about this yesterday. Actually, we were going over her chart, but in the more like elevated octaves, then Scorpio is the phoenix. It's rising from the ashes. So you might have been left for dead, you may have been navigating the underworld, but like if you harness that Scorpio energy, you are setting everything on fire and you're rebirthing yourself. The old life is gone, the new life is being moved into. And I think that's what a lot of star seeds and light workers are going through right now, or shadow workers, all the terms. Y'all know who you are, the ones that are placed on this planet at this particular time to activate, not just activate yourself, but activate the ley lines, activate the grid system, activate the consciousness of humanity, connect with the animals, the earth, okay? Connect with unity consciousness. I'm talking to y'all, so whatever you call yourself, you're included in this. But a lot of y'all were left for dead, all right? Spiritually, sometimes physically even. A lot of y'all had everything taken from you. A lot of y'all were basically put through the trenches in a lot of ways, maybe your whole life even. But one unique opportunity that you have at this time with the Scorpio energy, with the Phoenix energy, is to rebirth yourself, okay? Leave that old version behind, because you're on to some newer, greater, more expanded, more whole version of yourself, okay? And that's when you unlock the codes and keys that are latent within, that the false matrix tried to make it seem like you didn't have, or that your keys were someone else's keys, or that your destiny was someone else's destiny. A lot of folks are waking up, rubbing the sleep from their eyes, realizing that yes, it was you all along. And yes, I will take my stuff back now. Thank you. Okay, so that's kind of the energy of Scorpio. So I love it. It's lit. I love, love, love Scorpio season. Okay, all that to say, what's false magnetism? What does this mean? So let's talk about magnetism in general, right? Because like law of attraction community is always like, becoming magnetic, let's be magnetic, magnetize your dreams, magnetize your desires. And I've been on that tip too, the magnetism tip too, right? And a big piece, I've been talking a lot about magnetism, because like a big piece of magnetism is this idea of like, instead of striving, right? You don't just strive for what you want, you align, right? And then it magnetizes to you, ideally, right? Law of attraction, that's the way it's supposed to go down, right? Yeah, but there's some holes in that we need to talk about. And that's why I want to talk to y'all about false magnetism. By the way, if you aren't checking me out on YouTube, please go subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Goddess Keys. If you're looking for like specific tools on your ascension path, you're going to find them over there. Love the work that I do, like with engaging with TikTok and stuff. But if you're looking for the meditations and the subliminals and the more of the how-tos on your journey, then go over to my YouTube channel at the Goddess Keys. And I actually have some subliminal, and I have a longer download on false magnetism right now over there, where I kind of give more perspective. So I just wanted to share that if y'all are looking for resources, because a lot of the stuff I talk about, it's not just like common stuff. You can't just Google it. Some a YouTuber that I've been recently subscribed to calls Google charlatan's web, and I just love it. Like, it just kind of fits it. He's like, you're not gonna find this on charlatan's web, or charlatan's web says, sorry, I'm not co-hosting with anyone. So if you like try to join, I don't do that. I'm solo dolo. Okay, that's kind of how I roll. But hi, thank you for being here. Okay, all that to say, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Okay, false magnetism, back on track. Okay, so I've been doing more topics on YouTube as it relates to this more in depth, okay? But what about if magnets are used against your manifestation? Have we ever thought about that? We've talked about the positive side of magnets, and let's think about it. Magnets have a positive and a negative charge. Like, if you put two magnets together, like, sometimes you can cancel out the charge even, okay? So what happens then if you're naturally a magnetic person? If you are naturally like this magnetic creator being, and yet you are not able to manifest what you're seeking? Why is that? And is your magnetism somehow being utilized against you? Okay, let's talk about that a bit. So first of all, as we ascend, as we align to something called the Great Central Sun, which is within the earth, okay, not the sun that we get our beautiful sunshine, and not to say that sun is wrong or bad or whatever, but the magnetism that we're moving into is from within. Okay, and it's the same way that a lot of us are doing our spiritual evolution and growth and development, not outside, right? But from within. Okay, you have to go deep, deep, deep into the caverns of your soul and your heart to alchemize. It's the same thing, as within, so without. Okay, now that sun is magnetic. We have been taught that electromagnetism is a natural state of being on the earth. And I've talked about this many times, that electricity was brought onto the earth through many manipulations. The earth is naturally magnetic. That's her natural frequency. Okay, but a lot of electricity was introduced into her field. And a lot of that's being purged, quite honestly, because there needs to be more of a state of balance, and things are going back to magnetism, okay? Now, what has caused this electromagnetic frequency within the earth has been sustained through false magnetism, interestingly enough. And this is something that, as I've been poking around into the Akashic realms, this is something that I've discovered, okay? So what can happen? So I've been doing a lot on my Patreon around this uncrossing yourself. This month is all about, I'm calling it the ultimate reversal spell. So the whole month of October, we've been doing a lot of different activities to ourselves, basically. All of the ways that the false matrix has inverted our truth. Okay, it's almost like it's been held together actually through magnets and mirrors. Okay, so a lot of us have been on this polarity cross. Okay, and we can think about this concept of uncrossing ourselves from a multi-dimensional lens. I want you to think about how a lot of the ways that the false matrix has operated has been within a system of sacrifice, okay? That if in order for you to achieve, you have to sacrifice things, right? And then what tends to happen is that sometimes you might be sacrificing your dreams, you might be sacrificing your goals sometimes for quote unquote the greater good, or that greater good could just be for the powers that happen to be within office or etc. Okay, sometimes you might be sacrificing things to these beings or these institutions or entities as they call themselves. Okay, So this is based upon a program of sacrifice. The way that the false matrix has held itself up is through this checkerboard system. You may have even heard of this checkerboard matrix. A lot of these movies that have occult symbolism, a lot of times you'll see a lot of black and white in them. It's either this or that. It's black or white. One thing that the false matrix has been really good at doing, actually, is pitting different groups against each other who seem as though they have completely different opinions, and yet they're being funded by the same beings, the same people in the background, right? And it's because that has been what has been needed to keep, in order, like, to kind of keep things under control, all right? This has been this polarity consciousness, okay? And this has to do with like electrical thinking and magnetic thinking, okay? So what does this have to do with false magnetism, all right? Sometimes you might be somebody who has a lot of power, okay? You might have a lot of power, you might have a lot of ability to attract, and yet there are beings that might know that about you. And in the unconscious, so remember, 10% of us are in the conscious realms. We got a whole 90% happening in the unconscious realms. And this is also really important for Scorpio season, because Scorpio is, like I said, it can be like the underworld or the phoenix. It's also the time when the spiritual black market is on and popping in Scorpio season. This is when a lot of the deals go down. There's a reason why Halloween and all that stuff happens during this time. There's a reason why All Saints Day happens during this time, Dia de los Muertos, all that kind of stuff. There's a reason, there's a frequency that's happening within this time period, okay? So in this spiritual black market kind of thing, sometimes magnets are utilized to basically make it so that your gifts, because we're all have been on this polarity cross, right? So we're all kind of crossed up. It's either this or that, either or. We can't embody wholeness in this polarity cross, okay? We always have to sacrifice. So if you're on a certain part of the cross, like if you're on the bottom of the cross, all right, your shit's getting taken. Excuse my French, all right? And that is sometimes being done through magnets and mirrors. Magnets and mirrors hold up the system of polarity. I'm not gonna go too deep into this. If you're curious, go subscribe to the YouTube. There's more content there. And then I go deeper into the Patreon, and then I go deeper in one-on-one stuff, okay? I am very big on transparency. A lot of this system has been held together through keeping things hidden, shrouded in mystery. Nobody can know all the secrets. I can only know all the secrets and keep all the power. Mwahaha. You know, that's kind of how things have been run in the false matrix. That being said, I also do believe in energetic exchange, okay? And I also believe in like not putting all the cards out on the table, okay? So there's also this energy of being a seeker, all right? If you want to know, then the information is out there, but it's just not all going to be put into your face, you know? Know that that all the information, anything that you need, if you feel stuck right now, okay, if you feel backed into a corner, if you feel like you're being sacrificed on any realm or dimension, the tools are there for you to liberate yourself, and they actually lie within you, okay? That being said, this is not a fast food approach, okay? You do have to, there's a lot that you will need to deprogram to reach the sacredness of yourself that already exists, okay? So all that to say, the system is held with magnets and mirrors. There's a reason why there's a lot of magic with magical symbolism as it relates to mirrors, okay? Like even if you think about the evil queen with Snow White and how she does a lot of her dirt with the mirrors and stuff. And then there might be folks out there who have heard the superstitions around like, cover up your mirrors or don't sleep in front of the mirror or that kind of stuff. That's because there is like this concept of a mirror universe, okay? And this goes back into this whole polarity concept. There is this thing around if you're able to see past the illusion of the mirror, then infinite realities exist. And sometimes what you can do is pull in a reality that lies in another dimension into your physical realm. Okay. Now, a lot of beings know this, and they've utilized this to keep a lot of the population ensnared into systems of illusion, right? Into very narrow scripts. So if you are seeking to exit the false matrix reality, then you will want to become adept in the realm of magnets and mirrors, okay? And so sometimes the mirror is you looking at yourself, right? And really looking at if there's like shadow aspects in other people that are really triggering you, where does that reside within you? Okay, because they can't be within your reality if it's not within you. You encompass the all. In order to exit this false matrix system, you take a full accountability for your reality. And that is like, if you are caught up in a system of sacrifice, getting really real with yourself around where you gave your power away, where you thought that certain beings were higher than you, better than you, bigger than you, more capable than you, so much so that in the unconscious realm, you gave away all your stuff. You gave away all your jewels, okay? Because you didn't even know that you had them, or you didn't think you were worthy of them, all that kind of stuff. That's one way to utilize the mirror. Another way, though, and the ways that mirrors can be weaponized against us is like sometimes mirrors can distort our image, okay? And the mirror that we look at looks like somebody else, all right, in the unconscious realms, okay? And that's how a lot of times karma is deferred, right? Sometimes there's a lot of illusions that are embedded within the false matrix system. So a lot of times you might be wearing the reality of somebody else, and then they're wearing your reality, okay? Maybe somebody else doesn't want their reality, so they give it to you, and then there's a swap, or there's an exchange that happens, and that is also done through mirrors. Now, another way is through false magnetism. Beings who tend to lean more electrical, all right? And this is related to beings of certain star systems. I talk about that more on YouTube, so if you're interested, go over there if you can learn more about that. But there are certain beings of certain star systems that are more electrical in nature. And they kind of have false magnetism down pat within their auric fields. And they can just go, they can enter a room, or, they can get close to somebody who's of a very organic magnetism and kind of strip them in the unconscious. And if you're none the wiser, and if you don't know the power you possess, and if you are not really kind of keeping track of what's happening subconsciously, maybe you have soul contracts to give away your magnetism or to give away your energy to a person or a being of a certain lineage. You may not know you have this soul contract, but it's still official. It's still running. It's just like if you sign a contract in the third dimension. You know how like a lot of times we sign contracts that have all that fine print and we just like signed it anyway. It's kind of like that. You're still liable for it. If you go to court, or if you take a corporation to court and you didn't read the fine print, when you're in court, you are still accountable for that. Okay, it's that same kind of thing. So this is in order for us to truly reclaim our power, it does mean us getting really responsible with how we show up on all realms and dimensions, okay? And really learning, okay, well, what soul contracts have I signed up with? Do I consent? No, I do not. I withdraw my consent. Okay, do I consent to taking on the karma of other beings? No, I do not. I withdraw my consent, and I reverse that exchange. Ultimate reversal spell, okay? But it takes time. It takes a lot of work. But a lot of this has to do with magnets and mirrors. So magnets can also be utilized if there are certain magnets in your field. And start seeing magnets as being a form of etheric weaponry or etheric implants. I've talked about etheric implants, not so much on this platform, but on other platforms. There are certain implants that we have in our etheric fields, which can keep us constricted. And one of those are made out of magnets. And what they can do is they can split us in time. How a lot of like the mindful gurus, they tell us, the time is now. Be in the present time. And yet sometimes it seems like really difficult to do that. Sometimes it feels as though we're actually twisted in time and we can't let go of the past for some reason. Okay. There's an actual etheric reason why that happens. And a lot of times that's held through magnets, false magnetism. Okay. So you get stuck in the past. All right. You can't fully get into the present moment, or maybe you're able to for a bit, and then boom, you get the same past pattern back in your reality. Maybe it's through a different person. Maybe it's through a different job. Maybe it's through a different friend or family member, but it's the same frequency. All right. And I know y'all know about this. Okay. A lot of time that is a form of etheric weaponry, and it's being used to keep you out of alignment with the truth of the now and back into the past, always learning those same lessons over and over again, so that you don't evolve. Okay, so a lot of times that is a form of sorcery. That's a form of spell work that you would want to work on reversing as you exit the false matrix. So I have some resources on the YouTube for that. And yeah, so start really reconsidering magnetism. And yes, magnetism is a great thing. You can, the great thing about like really getting serious about reclaiming your power, freeing up your energy from really restrictive soul contracts, really icky karma that you're ready to transcend, etheric implants, all that kind of stuff, deprogramming yourself from a lot of the mind control matrices of the false matrix. Like once you start doing that, it's cool because you actually start like embodying the frequency of now, of wholeness. And yeah, stuff aligns a lot quicker and you don't have to work super hard for it to happen, because what is yours will align to you, and your energy, you become more and more sovereign every day. So that's awesome. But you got to clear all the obstructions first. And sometimes magnetism is being utilized against you. And people who are naturally magnetic sometimes get a lot of the BS because they're naturally magnetic. And that is being done through systems of false magnetism. Okay. And the way to get out of this is, number one, to look in the mirror, to look at the ways, have really real conversations with yourself about the ways that you have consented to giving your power away in this way. This has been done through consent. Subconscious consent is still consent. This is why we learn to excavate our subconscious minds, okay? Because we're still responsible for that 90%, okay? So we're not innocent in this, but like once we understand our full complexity and our full capacity and our full power, then we can reclaim it, okay? So first thing is we do want to look in the mirror and see where we consented to giving our power away. It also means having a really real investigative conversation as it relates to our ancestries. How did our ancestors give their power away? Because a lot of times, if we don't heal the karma, it'll just be a karmic loop. I like to think of karma as being this really big supercomputer. It's actually it's very impersonal. Certain karma that you have within your field, what will happen is basically it will program certain outcomes in your life. It will create a certain algorithm within your life. This is why karma is manipulated in the way that it is. This is why a lot of people will defer karma onto other groups of people so that they can manipulate their own life's algorithm. Okay. So it's very impersonal. Okay. But a lot of times it can feel very personal. It can feel like you're being attacked. Okay. And in some ways, yeah, you can, there are certain grid systems that you can end up in, frequency fences as well that you can end up in, that will like literally just like dump a whole bunch of karmic bullshit onto you, so that stuff is true. But once you see it and once you revoke your consent to the participation in those things, and sometimes there is some karma, some real legitimate karma that needs to be cleared up so that you are not giving your energy away to those things. Once you're able to do that, then you don't fall for the trick bag, and false magnetism doesn't impact you in the same way. And you're able to strengthen your auric field, clear all rips, holes, and tears within your auric field that might have your energy be getting siphoned in certain ways. But it does require you embodying your God or goddess self, okay? and truly, 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 like just being like, okay, I forgot I was a creator. I forgot that I'm connected to source. I gave my creative power to all these other beings. I take accountability, starting there, and then you take it back. Okay, so that is how you get out of the wheel of false magnetism, feeling like you're always getting things taken from you and not quite sure why, feeling like you're always having to rebuild, and then, things just collapse, and then now you're rebuilding again. There's a reason for that in the etheric. And that doesn't have to be your reality. Okay, so I'm actually just going to take a look at the comments. I wasn't looking at the comments for a sec, so now I'm just going to take a look real quick. Let's see. Oh, well, thank you for the gifts and the roses. Genesis, yes. Yeah, there's different ways to learn. If you're interested in learning more, just go on YouTube. Find me on YouTube at The Goddess Keith. Lots of gems and jewels there. So the question that is coming up is that cycle of sacrifice purely based on us giving the power away? Or what about when people are jealous of your power, like you said, are they trying to take it away? Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But this is where things get really like icky and tricky in the false matrix system. Okay, it's like buying your car from like a used car salesman. Or it's also like you go to get a loan from a loan shark. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you'll get the loan, you might need the loan for certain things, but there's going to be all these like terms and conditions. You're going to end up paying more, that kind of stuff. And it's all in the contract that you sign and everything. It's kind of like that. We've been kind of existing like that, like doing deals with loan sharks in the unconscious, thinking that was the only way for us to survive or thrive. And, we've actually just been a survival consciousness. But in those kinds of, in those deals that we've made or that our ancestors have made or that things that we've consented to, sometimes there's false agreements too. There are falsified agreements that you can find in your field, and then you just remove your energetic signature and send those back. There's also duplicated agreements. I have a whole download where I talk about soul contracts on YouTube. But yeah, there can be falsified agreements. There can be duplicated agreements. There can be combusted agreements too. Like there's hidden karma a lot of times, because it's like once you clear karma, once you clear your code on the karmic supercomputer, you're off the wheel. Okay, there's nothing on you. You're a free agent. So a lot of systems will be enacted within your field to keep you in karmic cycles. That's why karma has been utilized as a war tactic. Actually, war has a lot of karma attached to it, but that's a whole other thing. So with that being said, to that question, the system of sacrifice there are agreements that you will need to find in your field and revoke those agreements to all programs of sacrifice. Have a real conversation with yourself of where you consented to sacrifice as being the only way for you to live, in this society. A lot of times that was taught to you through your family, through the school system, what have you. So, you would want to heal that. And then you would want to revoke any contracts that you have to sacrifice different things. Sometimes you could sacrifice goals, dreams. It goes really deep. I'm not even going to talk about how deep it goes on this platform, but let me just say it does go really deep. So the thing about it is that in order for things to be taken in the subconscious, in the conscious realms, like the way that that you're being energy harvested off of is like the person always does something to try to make you feel lower, because that's the way the polarity cross works, right? Like one person has to be like on the bottom, another person has to be on the top. We can also look at this through a pyramid, right? Like lots of people at the bottom of the pyramid, a few people at the top of the pyramid benefiting. So you need to be put into a consciousness of being lower than to consent subconsciously to being energy harvested off of. So that's why there's all this talk right now around like healing from narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. Or there's this whole, why is it that empaths and narcissists are like magnetized to each other? False magnetism. That's a great example of false magnetism right there. Okay, the narcissist would be of more of an electrical frequency. The empath would be more of a magnetic kind of frequency. Okay, not always, but a lot of times you will find this. Okay, and yeah, and then it feels like when an empath gets involved in a narcissistic kind of dynamic, they feel like all this stuff is taken from them, right? False magnetism. Okay, so it's a mix, sometimes you consent to it, a lot of times we consent to it, and we need to heal the karma for it. And then there's also just beings that will be magnetized to you because they see something in you that they want, and they will do whatever they can to tear you down so that you are in a lower frequency, or maybe not even lower, but a disempowered frequency, so they can harvest. Okay, this is just kind of how the game has been played. Okay, and we can see this, art imitates life. So a lot of the stuff, always watch out for like what's going on in Hollywood, not to like follow the gossip columns, or to really care about what's happening in any celebrity's life, but to look at the trends of things, because you'll find that celebrity culture, Hollywood culture, is the closest to the mirrors of the subconscious mind. Theater, media has a very powerful subconscious element. So if you look at what's happening within that realm, it kind of mirrors to you what's happening in the unconscious realms. Okay. So yeah, I'll talk more about that later. So it does all stem from within, Jenna, but because you also encompass the all. You were taught that you were just a small fragment of the whole big piece of the puzzle. But what if we all encompass the all? That's a big one. That's a big one to chew on. All right. So with that being said, a question that I got was, how do you know if you've cleared all your karma? That's a good question. It's going to take some time, because think about it. Also, it depends on how old of a being you are, right? So if your ancestors have been on this planet for a really, 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 really long time, then and that's why a lot of times people who are more spiritually inclined feel like they have more karma to clear, is because they just have a longer legacy. They've seen more. So that's one thing. But then there's this other thing around people who are really spiritually evolved, having a lot of karma put on them, superimposed on them. That's not theirs, so that's another kind of thing. So you start with clearing karma from your most immediate surroundings. So start with smaller problems, and then you'll notice that you start clearing karma for larger and larger and larger issues. Soon you'll start getting into multi-dimensional karma, some of which needs to be sent back because, you're only here to focus on the earthbound type stuff. Sometimes karma from another dimension is superimposed upon you. Sometimes there's AI software. This is something I've been discovering a lot, that there's AI software that will duplicate karma fault. It gets really actually into, this is why I say karma is a supercomputer. So you also want to learn about coding and algorithms. If you're really serious about clearing karma, start with kind of the more spiritual routes, the traditional spiritual routes, but you won't clear it just there. You'll have to really start looking at the program of the false matrix and your positionality within that program. And, that gets a little fun. I'm having lots of fun with it, actually. And that's one thing, is start seeing it as a game, start seeing it as you figure different things out, you'll start seeing your life improve because you're changing your algorithm. And, the more freedom you have to answer your question, you start knowing that your karma is cleared based upon the freedom that you have within your, and let me be really clear, because some people defer karma onto others so that they can be more free. I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's not clearing karma. First of all, anybody who's doing that on the subconscious or conscious levels, you're not clearing your karma. You know, you're combusting it, you're deferring it, and there are accounting systems, systems of true law that know where things are sourced from. So it's really easy to figure out. So I'm not talking about just like, I want to live free, so I'm just going to defer my karma out to whoever and whatever so I can be free. I'm not talking about that. So everything needs to be accounted for. It is a really big accounting system. But if you're doing it in a way to where you are trying to find hidden karma, you are sending back false karma that's not yours, you sincerely want to take accountability for what is yours, because it's not just for you, it also is a global service that you do, and it's a service that you do to your ancestral lineage. Take some time. I know I haven't done it yet. I know that, you know, life is improving dramatically for me, and I do have more freedom. But yeah, more freedom, more ability to like literally see your life as a canvas, and you are the artist, and you're like, what do I want to create today? And you feel like you can be the creator, and that what you actually create is physical. Okay, then you know, like, okay, so we're making some progress here. But I don't know how it feels to have all the karma clear. I'm not quite there yet, and it takes time. It takes time. You know, this is hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of years, y'all. So how much are we supposed to live in this incarnation avatar thing that we're in? Maybe 100 if we're lucky, I guess. Like, you know, and it wasn't always supposed to be that way. But yeah, so I don't know how it feels to heal. I can't answer that question in full, but I can say that you'll know because you don't feel so like constricted. You know, you feel more free and lighter. You know, a lot of times like really icky circumstances happen because we just have all this like karmic, they call it miasma, just karmic miasma all within our field. We can feel that. We feel that constriction, and that's why it manifests in our lives. And that's why sometimes people feel like they feel trapped. You know what I mean? So if you don't feel trapped, then you know you're onto something right there. Grand rising to Anthony who said that. Yes, I do. Okay, somebody said, yeah, I feel like it's multidimensional karma. It certainly is. So let me go back to the whole thing around the polarity cross. Okay, and I go more into this on the Patreon. If you want to uncross yourself, there's a lot of different, a lot of resources for this month on Patreon around that. And then, of course, on YouTube as well. So for the multidimensional karma, let's go back to the polarity cross. I mentioned that a lot of us are on this polarity cross. If you are here to elevate or awaken the consciousness of the planet at this time, or awaken your consciousness, you want to uncross yourself. You want to get off of the cross, because if you're on the cross, any kind of cross, or running crosses in your field, which can happen. And remember, crosses are held up by magnets and mirrors. Now, if you're on the cross, you cannot embody wholeness on the cross. Okay? There's no way. The way you embody wholeness is you uncross yourself and you merge the polarities and you become the all. Okay? That's what we want to get to. Now, the thing about it, just like we have been on a polarity cross, as within, so without. The earth has been on a polarity cross. Different planets in the universe have been on a polarity cross. So what does that mean? That means that, you know how like folks were talking about like, oh, the earth is ghetto. Beam me up. I don't want to be on the earth. It's ghetto. Well, let's think about ghettos. All right. What are ghettos known for? Ghettos are known for high crime rates, having a lot of trash, having rundown facilities. Sounds like a lot of karmic miasma. And, you know, if we think about ghettos and the way ghettos are constructed, you notice like if you go to any American city, doesn't matter how rich it is, doesn't matter if it's the wealthiest city in the world, there's a ghetto. Okay? Polarity cross. Because we're in this system where, things need to be sacrificed in order for one group of people to have extreme wealth, another group of people must have extreme poverty. This is the polarity cross. Well, Earth has been on the bottom of the polarity cross within a multidimensional approach. So what that means, and I go into more of this on YouTube, is a lot of star systems have been coming over to dump their karmic trash onto Earth. And this is why we have issues as it relates to pollution, warfare, extreme violence, extreme division. This is the Earth manifesting karma, karmic dumping, karma dumping. Okay. Now, I used to live in East Oakland, like way back in the day. I used to own a house over there. Okay. And it was known that, East Oakland, for folks who don't know, is like the hood of Oakland. It is like the dangerous part. And it was known that if you dumped your trash in East Oakland, you wouldn't get fined. You wouldn't get fined. But if you dumped your trash in, say, Rockridge, a more affluent area of Oakland, you will get the police called on you so fast. It's like that. As within, so without. Earth has become that karmic dumping ground. So there's a lot of us actually that are here to clean some stuff up, send some stuff back, okay? And to actually exercise extreme law. Moving this planet from extreme lawlessness to extreme law. I'm going to refer you all back to what's going on with the celebrity culture right now. From extreme lawlessness to extreme law. As within, so without. Okay? So that's just a little download on false magnetism. For folks, somebody was asking if I coach folks on this. I actually do. Things are kind of filled up this for the rest of this year. Thank y'all for that, by the way, for the folks who have been like signing up and stuff. I might have like one more spot for this year, but I'm definitely taking on coaching clients for 2025. I offer 6-week coaching packages, which is a Pearl package. So that's if you have a really specific thing you want to work on, get you there in 6 weeks. Okay, it's pretty intensive, but we work through that. I have a 3-month coaching package. That's if you want to start getting more into the Akashic realms. And then I also have a 9-month coaching package. And I'm also launching, and so for the 6 weeks, that is called the Pearl package. The 3 months is the Sapphire. The 9 months is the Diamond. Y'all can tell I like gems and crystals, right? Now I actually am launching the Black Diamond package, which I'm really excited about. I've been talking a little bit about Black Diamond healing, and I'll be talking more about that, but that's a 12-month coaching package, which also includes a one-on-one retreat with me. And we do some deep ancestral healing at an international location of you and your ancestors' choice. So that's a very select, that's going to be for, it's not like a thing where I'm just like, hey, everybody sign up. It definitely has to be of a unique and organic magnetism for that to work out. But that is being offered. Pearl, Sapphire, Diamond, Black Diamond. So if you want to learn more about that, click the link in my bio, and we can also set up some time to chat. But yeah, sending out lots of love. Like anything that feels like you're stuck, you're never stuck. That's an illusion. Being stuck is always an illusion. It's always it's a trick bag. Don't fall for the trick bag. There's always a way out, okay? So just make sure that you reverse any spells that might make you feel stuck, all right? Sending y'all lots of love and joy and peace until we meet again. Bye, y'all.